so far. Okay, now my gold is done going through the nitric process, and we're going to do aqua regia right now. Is we're going to bring all this gold into solution. It's called aqua regia, and it'll probably be the first one. We might have to do a couple of them, and we'll put you through the process, show you the process right now. First thing we're going to put in is hydrochloric acid. I use Transchem muriatic acid right from the Ace Hardware right here in town. Muriatic acid, and we're going to bring that up to about the, I'd say 300-400 milliliter level. So we'll put the acid in. That should be good. Put that aside. Okay. Alright, now we're going to take some concentrated sulfuric acid, and we're going to put a couple of milliliters in there. And what that's going to do is, if there's any lead in there, it's going to turn the lead into lead sulfate, and it'll be easy to filter out when we're done. About 2 ml. That looks pretty good. Okay, now it's sulfuric. That's to drop the lead out. Give it some heat, about medium heat. And what's going to happen is all this gold is going to go into solution. As you can see, we're getting quite a responsive reaction. The gold inside the bottom is all being dissolved by the aqua regia. It's all going into solution, and we're going to leave this on a low boil until the reaction stops. We may have to add a little bit more nitric acid to finish up, but we're going to let this cook right now, and we'll wait till it stops. We'll go from there. It's been on about 10 minutes now. Well, as you can see, the reaction has stalled. The nitric acid is all gone that's in there now. While I was away, while you were away, I added 5 more milliliters of nitric acid, so there's a total of 17 in there right now. You can see that we still have quite a bit of gold left in the bottom that we need to dissolve. So I'm going to give it a pretty good dose. Now this is hot. We've got to be careful when we put it in. We're going to go slow. So I'm going to put it in real slowly. Let me get the cover on this. And put it in 2.5 at a time. You watch the reaction when I put it in. It's almost instantaneous. The acid is hot, and we got to basically just put it in by the drop. And we don't want to have a boil over. Using a pipette to put this stuff in, 2.5 milliliters at a time. That's 2.5. pressure down. There's still quite a bit of gold left. I'm going to go with at least 10 ml. That's 10. Ten more. Concentrated nitric acid, and let it cook some more. It's only been about 10 minutes since I added that last 10 milliliters of nitric acid. You can see the reaction is now stalled. That nitric I just put in is apparently used up. There's still a little bit of gold left at the bottom. Let's see if I can show you. There's still some, not a whole lot, but there's some in there. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna add another 5 milliliters of concentrated nitric acid. 5 milliliters this time. And we'll see where that takes us. Again, we have to put it in slow. This acid is hot. You don't want to get a boil over. You'll see it start to react as soon as I start to drop it in. Put 5 in this time. Okay. That's 5 more milliliters concentrated nitric acid. Let it cook. 5 more. Alright, the reaction's about stalled out from that last add of concentrated nitric, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add another 100 milliliters of hydrochloric acid just to freshen it up a bit, and then I'm going to add some more concentrated nitric. Alright, I think we're going to call this. I'm not sure. I've got one piece of something in there that will not dissolve. It just keeps bouncing around and fizzing. So I've turned the heat off. I'll let it settle out. I think I'm going to filter it out, see what it is we got in there, and we'll go from there. So now the heat is off. Just let it cool. Okay, the boil's all done. Everything is dissolved, except I don't know if you can see it. There's one little piece, right? There. And I don't know what it is. It's probably gold. what I'm thinking is when I did the importation, I didn't mix it well enough, and that was an area of the importation that had an abundance of gold, which means there was probably more in that area, more than 6 carat. And if it's like 10 carat or 10 carat area or 14 carat area, it will not dissolve. It'll sit there forever. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to filter this out. I'm going to save that little chunk, and I'll determine what it is later on. But we're just going to let this cool off right now, and I'm going to filter it into a beaker. Okay, I have to get this solution cooled down so I can filter it. I've got regular tap water ice, and I'm going to put ice in here. And like I said, it's regular tap water, so if it's got chlorine, it's okay because there's HCl in there, which is hydrochloric acid. And if anything, if there's any silver in there, it'll form silver chloride, which I can filter out. During the filter process, it'll pull that silver chloride out, as well as any lead and any other in that little piece of whatever it is down there. So anyway, let's put some ice in there and get this solution cooled off. We want it to be cold when we filter it. The silver chloride will form while it's cold. If it's hot, the silver will tend to stay in solution. You can see it getting a little cloudy. It's probably silver chloride. That should be good. We'll let it cool. Be back. Alright, the solution is now cold. You notice how it fogged up, so there's some contamination there. I'm thinking silver chloride. I don't know. Maybe if anybody sees this video and they can make a comment, tell me what it is. But it's nice and cool. Like, I just took it out of the fridge. I had 68 grams, 68.75 grams of projected gold from the melt that I did. I used 12, 17, 27, 37, 38 milliliters of concentrated nitric acid and 500 milliliters of hydrochloric acid to do the aqua regia. Now we're going to filter it out. I don't have a vacuum funnel. I'm not there yet, so this is going to take a while, but let's pour the start of it in anyway. Okay, so this is what we ended up with. Went through 2 filtrations on it. It was still a little bit cloudy after the first, so I ran it through filtration a second time, and it actually came out pretty good. It's relatively clear. Still a tiny bit of fog, but we're going to refine it one more time. And this is a little bit of extra that I had. Why we have so much liquid is because with the 2 filtrations and rinsing vessels and filters and beakers and stuff, all the rinse water ended up inside here, and so it went from about 600 milliliters to right now about 1400. But we're going to drop it with sodium metabisulfite tomorrow and re-refine it. We're going to re-aqua regia it, and we'll go from there. That'll be tomorrow's project. Also, there was a speck, if you were watching the Aqua Regia, there was a speck that did not dissolve. Well, this is the speck that I pulled out. It would not dissolve in Aqua Regia. I'm not sure exactly what it is. I mean, it looks like gold. It's slightly crumbly. I haven't tested it yet. But what I'm going to do, let me put a little light on it. Yeah, you can probably see it. Let me see if I can zoom in more. Anyway, that's what it is. It looks like gold. I'm going to test it and find out what it is. Meanwhile, we'll hang on to that. I did get a weight on it. And let me turn the scale on right now. Alright. Let's tear that. It's not very much weight there. We have 0.21 grams. Whatever that piece was weighs 0.2 of a gram, and we will figure out from there. Meanwhile, tomorrow's another day.